Hey y'all, welcome back to the ranch. I'm Jared Paul, and today it's kind of a transitional period here in Northwest Connecticut. So we are transitioning from summer into fall. So a lot of the growth has slowed my outdoor trees. So I thought, you know what? I haven't done an update on the ranch for a while, so that's what I'm going to do today. So that's what's coming up on today's episode of Jarhead Bonsai. All right, y'all. So I turned 39 this past Saturday, and Laura got me this really cool card. Boom. Little 3D bonsai. I thought that was really cool. Unique. It doesn't take that much to get me excited. And also, I got this really awesome Liverpool hat. It's made of corduroy. And I've been wanting a Liverpool hat for a while, so she knew exactly what to get me. It has been on my head since I've opened the package, with the exception of maybe sleeping it in the shower. So I absolutely love it. And it made the fact that it was my last birthday in my 30s just a little more tolerable. Anyways, so why don't we start at one corner and move our way across. So this is my lemon-scented gum trees. I believe two of them survived. One of them died off. And that's just what these things do, you know. Sometimes the branches will just die off, especially when you prune them up. So this one is growing pretty crazy, this low branch going across. You see they get these, somebody had told me what they're called. They're like lager fields or something like that. That's what these little bulbous root bases are. And so anyways, it kicks off new shoots from there. Luckily, they haven't died. It smells incredible, but I'm just going to leave that for now, let it grow through the winter. A Canary Island date palm tree, Norfolk Island pine. There's my blue jacaranda. If you remember, this is the blue jack that had the branch that came out and swirled, and it was amazing. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, that part died off. So starting to fill out again. I'm just kind of letting it grow. Let's get this trunk a little thicker. Even though it looks a lot like the flame tree, the Dillonyx regia, I have found that it's much smaller and much slower growing. Here's another one, another blue jack. These are from the Planter's Choice Bonsai Starter Kit, and they are working on their third year of life. So some of my older trees. This is the fig that I had as an arching style, where I took the branches and arched them, boom, planted them right back into the soil. And I just transitioned it into a specimen with a standard style this past time. So I'm letting that grow. It responded well to the pruning and defoliation, so I'm excited about that. And the world's most difficult to grow trees. These are African baobab trees. And there's 3 in this planting, and then I have 1 specimen as well. And that's out of 125 seeds that I tried to get to germinate. So it was difficult to get them to germinate, and even more difficult to keep them alive in the transition. So as you see, I'm just kind of letting these guys grow. They're getting nice and tall, and I'm hoping to get some thickness on these trunks. They are very slow growing. Stayed in dormancy a really long time this past year. A couple of bamboos. These are actually from a client. Her cat kept eating them, so she brought them over to the plant rehab center, and I've been doing that ever since. And down here we have 3 more blue jacarandas, all growing together in this terracotta. And this is really cool. This is actually a white flowering plant that I have just above, as you see. It pretty much flowers, I don't know, I'd say 6 times a year. And it's just awesome. It's crawling out of its pot. And all of the seeds fall down, and now I've got all these little babies down here. This is a cherimoya, which a cherimoya, it's a white fleshy fruit. and it's known to be like one of the top 3 most nutrient dense foods there is in existence. So once I saw that, I knew that I was going to be growing them. So I had pruned it down, I'd say about 1 foot tall. And then I just decided, you know what? I'm going to let these guys grow, let it vine out, and let that bottom trunk thicken. So they're larger leaves, not necessarily the best for a bonsai, but I have a few of them and I really like them. Babe, what's the name of the heart vine?
Hoya.
Yes, the Hoya. So this is a Hoya plant Laura got me a couple of Valentine's days ago and recently pruned it. It's cutting, did not take, but this one itself is looking nice. It was just one long branch, and now I'm finally getting some branching, which is cool. And here we have my Numex Twilight Chili plants. So my buddy Ian at Back Garden Bonsai told me that I had to self-pollinate these since there was only one with flowers. So I took a Q-tip and I rubbed it around the inside of all these flowers in hopes that I'll get some peppers this year. That would be cool. That's the only one that actually has flowers. This one doesn't, but it's kind of crawling out of the pot, which I like. And I'm just going to let these grow all winter long and then mess with them in spring. Probably get their first pruning then. Back here we have, if you saw in a previous video, these are jade plants that came from my buddy Scott Winard at Let's Do Bonsai. He shipped them over from England, and Laura, Franny, and I potted them up. So this is a cutting, and then these are two jade plants that actually are from cuttings themselves, but he rooted them and then sent them over like that. So I know that they'll have success. They haven't been there long enough to get any new growth, but I anticipate in the next week or so. Down here, these are not successful. These are my pencil cactus, and I planted them as little mame, but they grow tall and thin, and they're just really not suited for those little pots. So I'm going to probably transition those into larger pots and repurpose the little pots for a plant species that would be better for, the smaller pots and keeping miniature. And this is a Deinonychus regia that just popped up in the pot with this chili pepper. So that's a unique little planting. If you have not grown the Deinonychus regia, it is absolutely one of my favorites. It was my first bonsai from seed, and now I just have a ton of them. So love it. They grow very quickly, and it's very rewarding because you can prune them often. And what's better than working on your bonsai? Little Christmas cactus, my Marine Corps section. It's an old shadow box my Marines got for me when I was going from Camp Lejeune to Officer Candidate School. That's just kind of where I keep all of my old medals and things of that nature. So lots of spider plants, which are great for cleaning the air, filtering your air. Very easy to grow. They make little babies. They root easily. If you're just starting out in plants and such, that would be where I would start. They are just very forgiving. So we have a sago palm. This is from a local nursery. I do have another one that I got for Laura down in South Carolina a few years ago. And there's some Canary Island date palms down there, all grown from seed. That is a Pinus auristata from the Planter's Choice Grow Kit. This originally, I had planted a fig tree and a little spider plant, and the fig didn't make it, but the spider looks nice as an accent plant in this little pot. I think that looks cool. The money tree's filling out nicely. I pruned it back very hard and reorganized the trunk structure. This is the only one I don't like. So I'll probably keep the canopy about that size for the rest of its life and just continue to prune it back and let these trunks thicken up and have a nice bright green canopy. Very pretty. So this was what I call fuggles. It was an ugly, ugly succulent that just got way too tall. And I pruned it off, and the cutting actually rooted. And then if you could see here, we're getting a couple of leaves very slowly coming out. Very slowly. Yeah, there you go. A little purple and red. Okay. Over here, we've got the black locust and an avocado plant. So my goal is to have this low and gnarly and get some really nice twisting and turning, as black locusts like to do. And then just quite simply keep the avocado about this height, developing the canopy over time. You know, it can't all be trees, so I have some fun plants that just keep coming back. This one's really pretty. I think it's some sort of princess something. I don't know. I can't remember all the names of my things. Got a Schefflera in here with another pencil cactus. My geranium bonsai, that's flowering out. I actually have to prune this one off. That's about done flowering. It should be developing a nice trunk, but truly, I don't know because it's an annual flower. So I've just been following Bonsai Jay's lead. If you want to check out his playlist on the geranium, he's the originator of that concept. Nice little aloe plant. See that trunk? It's looking pretty cool. Probably next time I repot it, I will pot it up a little bit higher so that I get that bend above the soil, not just against it. Some more pencil cacti. Laura sunning herself in a little bikini planting. And I did a little, there's a message in a bottle and it says one love in here, you know, just to go with the Jamaican theme. Christmas cactus, developing that one as a bonsai, not just a plant. And this is one of 4 Deinonychus regia that popped up outdoors. The other 3 I shipped off, one to the Bonsai Zone, one to Bonsai Jay, and one to Belfast, Ireland at Back Garden Bonsai. And they all survived the trip, 9-10 days in the mail. So great, good on you guys for getting those to survive. This is my Schefflera from Hawaii, grown on top of a Hawaiian lava rock. The roots are really starting to develop nicely here. Last time I raised it up out of the pot a little bit. It was a lot further down and exposed those roots, and they're looking great. Here's a little pencil cactus. Probably take that out next time I prune them up. Different species of Christmas cactus. This is my Queen of the Night. Franny says it looks like the Demogorgon because it's just grown huge and crazy and wild. So I had to get it up off the floor and kind of give it its own space. But you see it even reaches out in front of the window. Very cool. These things flower big, beautiful flowers just one day a year. So you see on my wall, I've got all these glass votives filled with water, a whole bunch of little cuttings, some jades. So I really don't have any plans for them other than they look pretty on the wall and my infinity symbol. These pencil cactus, you get one tiny little baby in a tiny little pot a few years ago, and I have so many awesome plants from it. So once again, along with the spider plants, I would totally recommend pencil cactus if you want to do cuttings and things of that nature. Very easy to grow. This is our succulent trio Laura and I planted together, trying to mimic like a little pine and maple and a nice little gnarly bush down below. So that's fun. Just some random like zigzag cactus here and some spider plants. This thing has just grown like crazy and wild together. It's like all become one. Love it. This is a trident maple. I have a whole bunch of them. This is the only one that I kept as an indoor plant, just as an experiment. So just letting that one grow. I pruned them all in spring. It's doing well. Down under here, I have my lone lemon tree that survived. The rest were attacked by aphids and scale insects, and they did not recover, but that one did. So I lost about a dozen of my citrus trees. So I have that under the protection of the mother plant of spider plants, and it's forcing it to grow wider than it is tall. So eventually I'll take it out from under there. Here's another one of those cherimoya trees that I was talking about. It's actually a fruiting vine. Getting some nice thickness on the trunk there. Poinsettia. I'm going to put my poinsettias down in the basement a couple weeks before Christmas this year, because apparently that gets them to turn the red that they're known for. I repotted this. I had 2 of these, Philodendron mojo rojo, and one actually died off. And then this guy is a Dieffenbachia camouflage, and that's growing, came back very nicely as well. So I like that in the corner of the room. So this is a piece of furniture that Laura redid for me. It was just this plain white shelf with like kids' crayon all over it, and she cleaned it up, sanded it down, and gave it like this antique finish with a wax finish too, so that when I miss the pots and water hits it, it just beads up. So really, really cool. This is my Baobab specimen that I was telling you about earlier. So let's get some nice thickness to it. I've noticed the leaves are yellowing up towards the bottom. I think it's just a transitional phase. I don't think that there's any bug activity or anything affecting them, and it's not too dry. Here is my jade. It's really looking nice. I love that. Samame. This is a little succulent. These are all from cuttings. And here is a white pine from seed, and a little cactus from the desert in Arizona from seed, and a rose of Sharon's. This is actually a flowering one. So Mission Mame has been a successful one this year. Here is a pineapple guava, another pineapple guava, and that citrus tree is not looking good. That just kind of popped up from seed, and I might have transplanted it too soon. Here's Franny's jade. We pruned this one recently, so it's just starting to kick off some new growth, so I'll remove the larger leaves eventually. We have a Dillonyx regia from a cutting. It's finally started to grow and take off. I'm even getting some back budding, which is cool. And this is an Italian fig. This is bamboo. This is just kind of like my crazy cutting pot. There's a zigzag cactus in there. You know, I just want it to be big and wild and in the corner like that. I love it. Some more accent plants. This is a silver-bladed wandering Jew. All right, there's that cutting from Fuggles that I was telling you about. So that has survived and rooted. So I don't water that one that much. Once it starts kicking off growth, I'll probably water it. Right now, I just spray it with a spray bottle mostly. This is a forest planting of pineapple guava, filling in very nice, looking healthy. Here is the original, my Dillonyx regia from seed, from the Planter's Choice Grow Kit back in February 2018, which is when I got my start in bonsai. And I pruned that thing back hard. I caught a lot of flack from people on it, and well, the proof is in the growth. I mean, look how healthy and happy it is right now. So when I prune it down again, I'll probably take it back to, yeah, that smaller canopy there. I don't want it to get much taller than that. So we have some accent palms here. This is a planting of 5 or 6 Canary Island date palm trees from seed. This is a flowering rose of Sharon that it got hit with some mealy bugs or something, so I treated it, and it's recovering. It just looks pretty awful right now. Another succulent. I just took this inside. It just grows crazy and wild, a nice little tropical accent plant. Here are, I mean, there has to be 10 of these Dillonyx regias in this pot. And I'm just letting them, it's amazing how tall and thin they grow when they start indoors, as opposed to the short, woodier stock from the ones that started outdoors. They all kind of germinated at the same time. So that was interesting. Another avocado, which is not looking too happy, but those leaves are older, so that just might be part of its process. Bunch of jade cuttings. There's one juniper from Italy growing in the middle of it, so I got to get that out of there eventually. It just doesn't even make any sense. Tons more. I can't help but plant the spiderets when they fall off the tree or whatever. So that's them. I just have a ton of these things. Looks like I got to prune this off. This was just flowering. Nice little calla lily. This is that sago palm I was telling you about from South Carolina. It was a birthday present for Laura a few years ago. Yeah. So up over here, this pot I just put seeds in just randomly and a couple of fig cuttings, and I used coffee grounds for the first time about 3 weeks ago, and it has really taken off. So we have like a little lemon tree or maybe grapefruit and a couple of the figs. I just think that's going to end up being a nice little planting. So up here, you might have seen my my rescue mission. This pot, the original pot, I knocked off the fridge celebrating from soccer. And since I have potted up into the heavier terracotta, some of it's recovered, but not all of it looks too happy because I had it crawling all over the room. So hopefully it'll continue to recover. I've been spraying it down and watering it. I haven't had one of them going down into this pot now, but you see. So Laura was not happy with me about that. All right. This is actually what we use as a Christmas tree, Norfolk Island palm. And I'm just letting it grow. Just letting it grow, get thick, get happy. Not messing with that, not pruning it down because it has to support our decorations. So I'm thinking that that's where I'm going to end this one. And then I will do an outdoor update of the ranch because I'm at about 21, 22 minutes now. And right at about 26 minutes is when I run out of space and I can't actually process the video edited. So on part 2, I will take you outside. We'll look at my bonsais outside and take a trip down to the White Spruce Tree Farm where I planted a little over 500 trees this past spring. So that's going to do it for today's episode of Jarhead Bonsai. Please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And part 2 will be rolling out soon. Cheers, y'all.